shoot on him, can't get a hold of the legs.
Oh. Oh.
He's got the arm triangle.
They're working off of that jab early.
Knocked down for Oliveira now!
Islam's out. The belt's up for grabs. And now, the UFC's most violent finisher meets the undefeated prodigy at UFC 317. With Islam Makhachev vacating the title, the lightweight division is wide open, and UFC 317 is where a new king gets crowned. Ilia Topuria, the undefeated phenom, is making a bold move, stepping up from featherweight to face Charles Oliveira, the former champ and submission machine with a finish rate like no one else in UFC history. If you're wondering whether Topuria's power and precision can carry over to lightweight, if Oliveira's pressure and unpredictability will overwhelm the rising star, or if this fight will be the war everyone's expecting, it's all getting broken down in this video. This is more than just a title fight. It's a clash of eras, a must-win for both guys, and a moment that could redefine the entire division. Charles Oliveira isn't just a former champion. He's a finisher with a record no one else in UFC history can touch. More submissions, more chaos, more "how did he pull that off" moments than anyone we've seen. And now, he's standing across from a man who hasn't lost a single round in his UFC career. Ilia Topuria is undefeated, unbothered, and stepping right into the fire. So, is he ready? Here's the short answer: yes. But this fight is far from a sure thing. Topuria has never faced someone quite like Oliveira, but Oliveira's never faced someone quite like Topuria either. What makes Ilia different isn't just his power or his boxing, it's the way he processes fights in real time. He stays calm, he reads, he adjusts, and when he strikes, he doesn't miss. Ask Josh Emmett, ask Bryce Mitchell, ask Max Holloway. Actually, you can't, because Ilia might have retired Max without even meaning to. And here's the part that people still sleep on. Topuria's base is grappling. He started as a wrestler and a jiu-jitsu player. Before he was knocking people out cold, he was submitting them. That's important, because most guys are terrified of following Oliveira to the ground. Ilia won't be. Now let's talk size. Ilia is thick, stocky, and powerful, but he's short. Oliveira's tall, rangy, and has those nasty front kicks and knees up the middle. That's where things get tricky. Charles is a master of creating chaos, and when it hits the mat, he finds weird angles and wraps you up before you even realize what's happening. But here's the difference. Charles has been dropped, often. He gets back up, yes, but Ilia's power is a different kind of scary. If Topuria touches that chin the way he touched Emmett's, Charles might not get that chance to recover. Ilia is moving up in weight, but that might actually help him. He's said before that cutting to 145 drained him. At 155, he's more hydrated, more explosive, and still just as fast. He's not draining his body anymore, he's loading it. This fight isn't just a test for Topuria's skills, it's a test of patience. Oliveira thrives in madness. He wants the wild scrambles, he invites the pressure. But Ilia, he's like a sniper, cool, quiet, and waiting for his shot. So, is Topuria ready for Oliveira? He's more than ready, but that doesn't mean he's guaranteed to win. Charles is chaos wrapped in gold chains and glasses. He's still one of the most dangerous fighters on the planet. But if Ilia plays this right, stays composed, picks his moments, and forces Charles to pay for every reckless move, he could walk out of UFC 317 as the new lightweight king. Now let's flip it. Can Oliveira really bounce back and reclaim his crown? Because while Topuria might be the undefeated favorite, Charles is the guy who's already walked through hell and came out swinging. Look, Oliveira's story is one of the wildest comebacks in MMA history. Early in his career, he was written off. Too wild, too fragile, folded under pressure. But then, something changed. He leveled up, and suddenly he was tapping Dustin Poirier, dropping Justin Gaethje, and beating Chandler in one of the most chaotic title fights we've ever seen. But here's where it gets complicated. The damage is real. Oliveira's been in some wars. He's been dropped in almost every big fight. And when Islam Makhachev finished him, it felt like that aura of invincibility was starting to crack. Add in the loss to Arman Tsarukyan, and suddenly the question isn't about Charles's skill. It's about his timing. Is the window still open? That said, counting Oliveira out has never been a smart move. He's not just dangerous off his back, he invites you into danger. His scrambles are vicious, his submissions are fast, and when he gets on your neck or your arm, it's usually game over. He doesn't just finish, he hunts. And even though Topuria has the better chin, Oliveira's striking has gotten sharper. Remember, he flatlined Chandler with his hands, his front kicks, his pressure, his pace. If he makes this messy, he thrives. So the real question isn't if Oliveira still has it, it's whether he can force this fight to happen on his terms. Can he create the storm, survive the early power, and drag Topuria into the chaos? Why is this fight the most dangerous lightweight matchup in years? Because it's not just about who's better. It's about what happens when two finishers with totally different styles collide at full speed. Both guys are aggressive, both are proven, and neither has any interest in letting this go to the judges. This isn't a striker versus grappler, or young gun versus old guard narrative. It's all of that rolled into one. Topuria brings scary speed, sharp footwork, and that calculated killer instinct. Oliveira brings pressure, unpredictability, and an entire highlight reel of pulling off the impossible. And there's no safety net here. One mistake, and it's over. You overextend on a punch. Topuria makes you pay. You get too comfortable in a scramble. Oliveira will choke you out. That kind of danger on both sides is rare. Plus, the stakes couldn't be higher. It's International Fight Week. The lightweight belt is vacant. The division's been waiting for a new story, and this fight will write it. So when the cage door shuts, don't blink, because UFC 317 isn't just a title fight. It's the kind of matchup that reminds us why we watch this sport in the first place. So here we are, two fighters, one belt, and no margin for error. Charles Oliveira, the man who rose from forgotten prospect to one of the most electric champions the sport has ever seen. He's the embodiment of chaos, creativity, and raw perseverance. He's been written off, dropped, doubted, and every time he's come back with fire in his eyes and a finish on his record. Ilia Topuria, the undefeated technician with ice in his veins and dynamite in his hands. Every time we ask if he's ready, he shows us we were late to the party. He's not just ready, he's been ahead of the curve the whole time. Now, he's got the chance to do what only legends dare to try: move up, take over, and plant his flag at the top of another division. This fight is a litmus test for both careers. If Oliveira wins, he's a two-time champ who's proven he can still hang with the best of the next generation. If Topuria wins, the conversation around him explodes. GOAT talks, dual division runs, pound-for-pound status. It's not just a title fight, it's a legacy moment. And it could all end in a blink. So now, it's your turn. Drop your predictions in the comments. Who walks out of UFC 317 with the strap? Can Charles reclaim the throne? Or will Topuria close the chapter on one era and open the door to his own? Hit like if you're hyped for June 29th. Subscribe if you're riding with us for every fight, every card, and every moment. Because if you love the fight game, this is one you do not want to miss.